Hi everyone, welcome to another tutorial on C language. Today we are going to learn about arrays. Before starting the concept, I'll give you a small program to write. Okay, write a program to store the marks of two students and display them. Okay, so you need to store the marks of two students and then display them. Okay, so how would you do that? First, you declare two variables to store the marks of the two students. Let me call one as marks1 and the other students marks as marks2. Okay, now I'll give them some marks. Suppose marks1 is equal to 95, marks2 equal to 80. Now to display them, what would you do? You will use printf statements. The marks of student 1 is %d marks 1. The marks of student 2 is marks 2. Okay, let us run this program. Marks of student 1 is 95, marks of student 2 is 80. Now if I ask you to do the same program but store the marks of 5 students and display the marks of 5 students, what you would do? You would add 3 more variables. Okay, marks 3, marks 4, marks 5. Okay, let us assign marks 3 as 65, marks 4 as 80, marks 5 as 77, and then you will print the marks of all these 5 students. Let us run this program. This works fine. Now if I ask you to write the same program but do this for 100 students, store the marks of 100 students and then display all the 100 students marks. Will you declare all the variables from mark 6 to marks 100, and then will you assign all the marks from mark 6 to mark 100, and then will you write printf statements 100 times? Marks of student 1, marks of student 2, marks of student 3, so on up to marks of student 100. Will you write that? Impossible, right? That's why in C language we have a concept called arrays. Before looking at the actual syntax, I'll give you the formal definition of an array. An array is a collective name given to a group of similar quantities. Example, there are 100 students. We have to store the marks of each student. Then we can create an array of student marks. So student 1's marks, student 2's marks, student 3's marks, so on. Student 100 marks. Okay. Similarly, suppose we have to store the age of all the employees working in a company. So we'll create an array of employee age. Okay, we can store ages of all the employees in this array. Okay. Age of second employee, age of third employee, so on. Okay, in C language we can create arrays of integers, floats, characters, etc. The only thing to remember is we can create array of similar quantities. Okay, so we cannot make an array of 100 elements in which the first 50 are integers and the second 50 are floats. This is not possible. We should have only similar quantities. Okay, so either if you are creating an array of 100 elements, all should be integers or all should be float. Okay, now let us look at the syntax of an array. First we have to give the data type of the array. Suppose all my elements in the array are integers, we'll write int. Okay, if they are float, then we'll write float. Next we should write the name of the array. Suppose my array's name is marks, so I'll write marks. Next we should give the length of the array. Suppose if my array contains 10 elements, I will write marks 10. Now after creating the array, how do I access each and every element of the array? Suppose there are 10 students whose marks I want to store. How do I access the marks of each student? We can access each and every individual element of an array using its position. In C language, the position numbering starts from 0. Suppose there are 100 elements, the numbering starts from 0 to 99. So if I want to access the second element of an array, I'll use the number 1. Okay. So if the array's name is marks, I will use marks of 1. This will fetch me the second element of the array. If I want the 100th element of the array, I will use marks 99. Okay. So this is how we access each and every element of the array. Now let us do the same problem that we have done earlier using arrays. We'll take a small array. Suppose let us say there are 5 students. We want to store their marks and display their marks. Okay. Instead of manually assigning the marks, we can ask the user to enter the marks. Okay. So we can ask user enter the marks of 5 students. Next, we'll create a for loop to access each element of the array. We'll start index from 0. It will go up to 4. Okay. We'll give index less than 5. That is, we'll go from 0 to 4. We'll increment index. Now we'll read the marks. Okay. We'll do %d and we'll give ampersand of marks of index. So what this will do? Initially, index starts from value 0. So we are reading the marks and storing it in marks of 0. That is first element of marks array. This is the student array. Its numbering starts from 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And now when the user enters the first marks, suppose he entered 85, we are storing it in marks of 0. In the first element, we have stored the value. Next, what happens? We have reached the end of the loop. Now index will become index plus 1. So index will become 1 now. And now whatever the user is entering, we are storing in marks of 1. So this is marks of 1. And we are storing whatever is entered inside marks 1. So the next entered value will be stored in marks 1. Okay. Similarly, index will become 2. Next mark will be stored here. Then 3 and then 4. So all the 5 student marks have been entered and stored in the array. Okay. Next, what we can do is we can print the students marks. Same, I'll again use a for loop. Let index starts from 0, index less than 5, index plus plus. Now I'll print the marks of each student. Marks of student is, since index value starts from 0, we'll give index plus 1. Then it will be marks of student 1 is marks of index. Okay. So marks of student 1 will be marks of 0. Okay. So this will contain the marks of student 1, marks of student 2, marks of student 3, student 4, student 5. Okay. Let us run this program and check. So we'll enter 85, 75, 67, 86, 90. So marks of student 1 is 85, marks of student 2 is 75, 67, 56, 98. So our program works fine. So this is a brief introduction on how to create an array, how to access the elements inside the array. In the next class, we'll look at further concepts. Thank you for watching the video. If you like the video, please subscribe the channel.